All right, so here's the homework assignment for this week that I hope you'll take some time and really kind of work through these passages over the course of the next 5 or 6 days. Really pray through them. I think that's one thing I failed to say as we're reading the Bible on your own and working through some of these questions, that you really would pray before you start, that the Lord would kind of open your eyes to the truth and help you to understand what you're reading, but also how to apply it to your life. And so I'm hoping these passages will bring some clarity to what Jesus is saying in Matthew 5:17 through 20. But the first passage is Romans 3:21 through 26, which is probably my favorite passage in the entire Bible. But I think these help to, as a review and a little more information on what the righteousness that exceeds that of the Pharisees looks like, where it comes from, what its basis is, how we get it. And so would you look at those verses and really ponder those questions. You know, what is this righteousness based on? How do I get this righteousness? Maybe what was my condition before this righteousness, and now what is it after? So I think those verses will help. Again, maybe journal some, definitely pray, write out questions if you have them, because once we meet again for a Zoom session, maybe we can have more discussion if you have questions, those sort of things. And then I want you to read Romans 7:1 through 12, and this is a little bit confusing, and I'm just going to leave you to deal with the confusion a little bit. So the first question, as you read Romans 7:1 through 12, is the law helpful or important? Is it good? You know, in other words, if Christ has fulfilled the law, then should we just toss out the Old Testament? Obviously the answer is no. Should we just toss out rules? Obviously the answer is no. But it's interesting how Paul talks through this in these 12 verses. And I think the real question is, how do you reconcile the first 6 verses of the chapter with verses 7 through 12? Because they seem like they contradict each other, but that's just not true. We know that the Bible does not contradict itself, but it sounds that way. So check that out, wrestle with that. Hit me up if you got questions via text, email, whatever. And then lastly, read James 2:14 through 26, because I want you to see if this passage actually helps you to better understand what law righteousness, which was what the Pharisees were all about, how we can distinguish that from Christ righteousness, the righteousness that comes by faith in Jesus Christ as the fulfillment of the law. And so the question is, how does that help us understand or differentiate between those two? And the key really to understanding this passage is verse 22. So you're going to want to camp out there a little bit and really kind of think about, what does that verse mean? So spend some time reading those, praying about them, reread them, journal, jot down questions if you have them, and then let's talk next week via Zoom. And I hope this is helpful in some way. But like I said, if you got any questions, please reach out and let's talk before next week if I can be of help. See you guys soon, I hope. Bye.